Actually, we don't always record these.
Now I just started the recording. Now that we said treacherous and terrible things, Fred said terrible things about Jeff Morrell.
I
Now
really
I
didn't mean what I said about Jeff either, but
Oh
thank
no,
God he
God
didn't hear
forbid.
it.
Anthony, I know that you're texting in. There's no requirement, or chatting in. There's no requirement to have a camera on. It always works easier if you do. But if you're driving or you don't got something else going on, no problem at all. Mr. Hignan knows the rules. He's here regularly, so he'll pop in as he needs to. This is Agent Attraction Q&A Thursday. Of course, Mondays we have different stylists, people talking about the way they attract agents. Often the people that are speaking on Monday are either within the Freedom Team group or outside of our group, but they have offered to spend an hour with us. So don't miss Mondays at the exact same time. But Thursdays are where you can come in. I generally host. Tim is regularly here as well. And you get to ask specific questions about what's going on in your world or what's not going on in your world. Because I've been around the recruiting world and the real estate world, both inside and outside of it, for the last 40 plus years, I'll often add some things to think about, which might make your journey in agent attraction easier and more profitable. And to use the words similarly that Tim used on his tip of the day earlier, which would make it less hard and worthwhile. Tim's message this morning, a great one. Tim, synopsis. Go ahead, real quick, your tip of the day.
Gosh, I don't have the quote in front of me. Basically, it's another way of saying is don't worry about things you can't control. You know, everybody's talking about this lawsuit. Don't focus on it, and it won't distract you. Simple as that. That lawsuit is years away from being finalized, in my opinion, and I think most would agree with that. So stop focusing on it. Get back to work. Double down, as I've said in many of my tips of the day, during this time of the year specifically, and in this type of market especially, because everybody else is sitting on the sidelines complaining that the market's terrible, the rates are too high, I don't know how I'm going to survive. Well, you're going to survive by working harder. That's what you have to do. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. That or get out of the industry, because we have these troughs and we survive through them when we work harder in these troughs, and we're better when we come out of it. And the strong people grow the biggest in these troughs. I made $1 million a year as a RE/MAX agent the 3 years after the 07-08 market, because I worked my ass off when it was hard, when it sucked. Another tip of the day was embrace the suck. So there, that's it. I'm done.
Man, aren't we glad that we bring you in for an uplifting message every week? Let me say this about that, and then we'll get off the transaction wheel and into the attraction wheel. There's 3 things that are going to happen over the next 2 years. Number 1, agents are going to use this lawsuit and all the things related to it to quit the industry. And you can be one of them. Here's number 2. Agents are going to use the fact that interest rates are now over 8% and probably heading to 9 before it heads to 6. And so agents are going to quit. And there's more in it for us, unless you're the ones that decide that that's the reason you're leaving the industry. But what's funny is the third one is, if you want to make whatever you want to make in real estate, I need you to do this math for me. How many millions do you have to do? Taurus, you and I have never talked, so jump on the microphone real quick. We'll see if we can blow you out real quick. Hello, Taurus. How are you?
How you doing?
Good, man. Where are you from?
Great, fantastic.
Yeah, and you
Dallas.
live where? You Dallas?
Yeah, live in the DFW area in Euless.
I know Euless well. I was in Flower
Euless,
Mound for a
Texas.
few years. Congratulations on the World Championship if you're a baseball fan. And if you're not, celebrate anyway.
I am.
Yeah,
I am. I'll celebrate tomorrow.
Yeah, good.
Thank you.
So here's the question. If you, we're going to reverse engineer transactions. We're going to go right to attraction. If you said to me, hey, man, Eric, I want to make this much money in 2024 from transactions. I don't know you at all. I don't care if you tell me you want to make 50,000 or 500,000. But pick a number you would tell me you want to make from transactions in 2024. What would that number be?
120.
Okay, 120. So let's make the math work. 120,000 divided by, are we still getting 3.5% or 3% in Ulyss, or are we getting 2.5%?
Yeah, it's 3%.
Okay.
For them. Yeah.
So you got to do $4 million to get a straight relationship for 120 grand. Now, EXP is going to take some of that money. We know that, but we'll offset that with attraction. But I want you to understand this. You got to do $4 million, no matter what the interest rates are, no matter what's going on in the legal community, and no matter whether you want to or not go to work, you need to do.
I said,
excuse
me, I said 120 transactions.
Oh, transactions. Let's forget transactions.
Okay.
What dollar amount? How much do you want to put in your pocket?
I want to do 1.1 million.
1.1 million. Okay, let's do the math on that. 110 divided by 0.03 is 36 million in volume. If you do 36 million at 3%, you'll bring in over $1 million in commissions. You got that?
Yeah.
What is your average price point?
About 450.
Okay. So if you need to do 36 million divided by 450, you need to do 80 transactions. Okay. I'm just using math the way we're using it. 80 transactions divided by 12 is roughly 7 transactions a month. Okay. So here's my question. Do you believe there are going to be 7 transactions to be had in Ulyss a month over the next year, every month? Is there going to be at least 7 transactions to be had? Yes or no? Are they out? What was that?
I said no.
Okay. There aren't 7 transactions being done in all of Ulyss.
Well, I'm all over.
Okay.
So I work all over. So,
okay.
But yeah, in that regards, yes, I work all over. So in that regards, yes.
Even if the interest rate's at 8 3/8, it's still there, right? You still have transactions.
Yes.
Even with the lawsuit, which doesn't involve the general public yet.
Right.
That's not going to stop. So here's, based on what Tim said today, and what I wanted you guys to figure out is this. All you got to worry about is, where's my 7 transactions for January? What do I got to do? And you got to block out the noise of everything else. And if you can figure out how to block out the noise, and you plug into whatever method you're using, and if you don't have a method in order to figure out how to get 7 transactions a month, which is what you need, forget about 36 million, forget about 120 or 80 transactions. All you need is 7 a month. How do you get 7 a month?
Absolutely.
You do that by plugging in every Tuesday to our trainings until you have all the, because Tuesdays are a transaction mindset, right? It's the mindset training on how to get more transactions. We go through all different ways to do that on Tuesdays. So if you already have a strategy to get 7, you don't need to additionally plug in, although it would be beneficial. If you're not sure you've got a strategy, then plug in each of the next Tuesdays, 7, 8 of them in a row at the end of the year. You'll pick up enough strategies, no doubt. You can always go listen to recordings in our workplace, in the Freedom Team workplace, or on our YouTube page, EXP Freedom Team. There's ways of, or you can go literally through their freedomteamsupport.com and go to more transaction training. So I want you to know, Taurus, there is no reason for you not to have a strategy. And if the houses are there, there's no reason, unless you won't do the work, that you won't have them, because there's enough people quitting right now or slowing down to give you room to step in. You agree with that?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So let's take that same mindset and roll it over to attraction. I'm going to talk today, my only training, and then we'll go to Q&A. I'm going to talk today about, Taurus, how long you been with EXP?
4 years.
Okay. Have you been in the attraction mode much, or is it sort of new to you?
I haven't been in attraction mode.
Okay. So we're going to attract, over the next year, 5 agents. And they don't have to be $36 million producers. all they got to be is $3 million producers. You're going to go after 5 agents who each sell 3 million cap or more.
Mhm.
And it doesn't matter if they like their broker, they're not coming. It doesn't matter if they like their team, they're not coming. It doesn't matter if they're drinking the Kool-Aid of KW, they're not coming. Do you believe in the Metroplex that over the next year, you can find 5 selling agents that would find EXP's model interesting? Yes or no?
Absolutely, yes.
If you brought in 5, including the stock you'd receive, you would offset your cap. It would pay you exactly $16,000, just so you know. Okay?
Right.
Now,
Right.
if those 5 wanted to offset their cap, they would have as much time as they want, but let's pretend they bring in 5 each. So you have 5 on the front line, 25 on your second line. You understand that?
Yes.
30 agents, everybody's just selling 3 million or more.
Mhm.
You're making $94,000 a year from 30 agents, and all you did was sponsor 5. I need you to understand how simple agent attraction is if you will get rid of all of the other thoughts. Because you're only looking for 7 transactions a month and 5 agents over the year. By the time they bring 1 agent each, you're making 30 grand a year. By the time they each bring 5 so they can offset their cap, you're now making $94,000 a year. So if you left this year, at the end of the year where you brought in 5, let's say between now and the first quarter, and what you did in 3 months, you helped them do in 11 months, you're now going into the next year with $94,000 residually. You said you wanted 1.1 million. That's the one. That's the 0.1 part of the 1.1. Okay, but is this making sense to you?
Okay.
Most people
Yes,
look
it
at agent
does.
attraction. They look at agent attraction and say, "Let me go get them all. Let me go find everybody. I'm going to talk to everybody that slows down, anybody that fogs the mirror." The truth is, if you want to win at agent attraction, you should attract agents that already know how to sell real estate, don't need handholding, and they already have a experience. So they already have connections with other realtors, so they have the ability to bring in just a handful like you did. We're not going to try to bring in 20, 30, 40. You can do that over time. But all we're going to talk about is bring in 5, help them bring in 5. You're making 94 grand. How does that sound?
That sounds absolutely wonderful.
Okay. I'm going to take you one last. Do you have any questions about that, or it pretty sounds wonderful?
Sounds wonderful. I mean, I'm geared up. I'm hyped up. Yes.
Is that simpler from a progression standpoint? Does it make it believable to you?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it does.
Mike Chamberlain staring at me. Mike, does it make it believable to you that if over the next 3, 4, 5, 6 months we brought in 5 agents, and over the next 6 to 9, 10 months after that, we help them just bring in 5? You got a group of 30, you're now making $94,000 a year just from your, how's that sound?
Very attainable, very intriguing. Yes.
Okay.
Believable.
So here's the part, people, that'll blow you away. What do you think those 5 agents you brought in, once they have their 5 and they've offset their cap, won't they want to do what you did, which is help them bring in 5 each? Isn't that what they, right? Wouldn't they want to do that? So I wanted to show you what will happen over the next 2 to 5 years. Now, again, I say 2 to 5 years because some of us will do it in 2, and some of us legitimately will take 5. But in either case, I'm going to show you, I'm going to pull it up on my screen. 1 second. I'm going to show you what that looks like when I have it on my screen, which is right now. Share screen. Here you go. This is called the Freedom Chart. Taras and Mike introducing it to you for the first time. Your name would go in here where it says your name. This is the total amount of income you'll make as you bring in, and hear what I say, capping agents. Agents that already sell for a living. Does that mean you can't bring in a new one? Yes, of course. But I wouldn't count them on this chart. Could you bring in a brokerage with a whole bunch of agents? Yes, and a lot of them can end up on this chart. But here's the way it works. When you put your first agent in, Taras, who sells at least 3 million, let's say you put in Carl, and you check this box, it'll tell you you're now making $2,800 a year because of Carl. And by the way, if you bring in 5, there's the 16,000 or 14,000 plus the stock. That's the 16,000 right here. 14,000 plus the 2,000 in stock. You now have 16,000. It offsets your cap. Now, if each of those agents each brought in 1 along the way, you're now making $30,000. And if I filled out this chart completely, it's only 5 frontline, helping them each bring in 5, 30 total, you're making 94 grand. But Taurus, look at the bottom number. If you then help those 5 that are down through here do what you did, help them get their 5, you now have a group of 150 agents, and you're making $344,000 a year. This is called the freedom chart because it is the fastest way I know to get you to freedom. Happy to send an example of this chart to you so you can interact and you can use it. Happy to do that. Reach out to me on Workplace Chat, Eric Golden, EricGolden. I will rename myself right here so you can see it. Find me on Workplace Chat, shoot me your email address, and I will shoot you a personalized chart. Now, with that said, welcome to Agent Attraction. Only 4 things we ever do. Simplest way you'll ever hear it. We make a list of agents. We invite them to look. We show them a presentation, whether we do it live or we use one of the recordings, and we answer questions. Taurus, Mike, Fred, the acronym is LISA, L-I-S-A, list, invite, show, answer. And your goal is to find people when you invite them that want to look at EXP. If you're talking to people that are giving you reasons why they don't want to look, they're not a prospect. I don't teach you sales techniques here. I teach you mind games. You're looking for the person that's looking for you. You're looking for the person that yesterday realized they don't have lead generation and need it. Yesterday got into an argument with their broker or office manager. Yesterday went into their office and had a beautiful little desk and someone else was sitting at it. Yesterday their fees were raised. Yesterday something happened. You're looking for an agent that because you call them on Thursday, they're waiting for the call. They just didn't know it was coming. This is not a training unit where I'm going to teach you to overcome objections. Because I think overcoming objections is leading you to a harder way about it. I just call people and ask them if they're interested enough to know why 80,000 agents have come to EXP and what could be in it for them without any kind of pressure to join. If they're open to looking, then they're open to seeing what we have. If they're not open to looking, you can reverse their thoughts, possibly, but it would take us weeks for you to learn that. And the truth is, you won't make enough calls to go through that. You're looking for the agent that's just looking for you because God shined his light on you today and said, today's your lucky day, you found one. It didn't take me long to tell Sean, my sponsor, yeah, I'll look at it. It didn't take me long to ask questions, and it didn't take me long to decide to join. And when I told him I was going to join, I did. Tim, did it take you long to look?
No, I committed to looking on the first phone call.
When you looked, were you open-minded?
Eventually, but yeah, you had to be open-minded to even look, I believe. But yes, you know,
Okay.
my personality is detail-oriented, so I studied the crap out of it for 60 days, and then I couldn't wait to get here.
Okay, so that's the piece I want you to know. He couldn't wait to get here. So I'm going to say something, and it's not for the majority of the people I've been talking to yet. It's for the ones that I've talked to before that are jumping on now. The majority of agents you've already talked to about EXP that weren't open, you can go back to them if you want, but I have no reason to do that. I'm going to call the next guy in order, or the next gal in order. And if I don't know agents, tonight I'm going to a mixer. It's called Taste of Lake County, where they mix in business and food, $45, 3 hours, eat all you want, meet all you want, and I will meet realtors. And I'm going to ask them a question. Who are you with? You're going to tell me. I say, oh, dude, I've heard great things. Tell me real quick, what do you like best about your brokerage? Let them tell me. And if they don't have something you'd like, what would it be? Boom. At some point, they say, why are you asking? You say, well, because I actually specialize in expanding EXP's brokerage, but I do it different than most people do. And they go, what do you mean? I said, I only talk to people that are curious to know why 80,000 agents have moved to one brokerage and what could be in it for you. Without any pressure to you, would you be interested to know why all these people are coming and what could be here for you as well? As long as you know, I don't care if you switch brokerages or not. And Mike, you know what they say? Oh, I don't think I'd be interested. And I say, oh, timing's not right. How about I send you a video? You can watch it whenever you want. It's only about 15 minutes long. Oh, sure, I'll take that. And so I put them in my CRM Grow, which is what I use for dripping. And I just put out an automation and they'll watch it, or they'll get it again in a week, or they'll unsubscribe, and I don't care at all. Tim, do I care?
Nope.
Higdon, do I care? Eugenia, jump on real quick.
Yes.
How long
I
ago
don't
did
care.
I'm doing well. How's Eugenia in Georgia doing?
I'm doing great.
I
Thank
talked to
you.
your husband, Sean. When did I first talk to him? Do you remember?
I think it was in January.
Of this year, right?
Yes.
Okay. And he loved what I had, and he brought it to you. And what did you say?
I said yes.
Okay. And it took
But
him
I had
how
to
long?
switch.
What was that?
It took me I said I would look at it, and then it took me like 30 days before I really looked at it and said, okay.
And did I push you the whole time?
No. No, I called you. My husband pushed me.
Okay. So I want you to and by the way, she's not a plant. I mean, she's a real person, and she came because she wants to hear Agent Attraction. So I want to debunk all of the things you've heard about Agent Attraction. It's not hard. You don't have to convince people. Go back to what Tim's talk about today on the tip of the day. Only what lives in your mind causes you reasons to think. I think Agent Attraction is easy because I'm only looking for the people that make it easy. And you guys are willing to talk to anybody because you're desperate. Like
Correct.
Taurus has already learned, I know there's 5 agents between now and the end of the year that want to join me. I may have to make 5 or 500 calls. I don't care. I'd rather make 500 calls just asking one question than trying to push 10, 15, or drag 30 people across the finish line. And that's what most people think Agent Attraction is. It's not. I'll pause for a minute. Tim, comment?
That was awesome. And I'm not saying that to stroke your ego. I mean, what a concise synopsis in about 19 minutes of what this is really all about. Did you all like that?
Yes.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
I did. Great information. Good breakdown.
Well, you'll find out you can come back to these every week for a year, and you'll learn a whole lot more, but it'll all be about the same things I just talked about. Any pushback, anytime someone says anything like, oh, but I love my broker, my answer is great. I'm fine with you loving your broker, but are you curious to know, blah, 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 blah. Then they say, but I'm in 100%. Say, great, you're probably in a good spot, but would you like to see what it would look like with our system? Again, no pressure. If you're interested, I'd love to show you just for information purposes. Do you guys feel the difference between that and what you think you should be doing? Because you're not supposed to do what you think. You're supposed to do what I'm telling you, which works. Okay. So now we'll pause it. That's our training for the day. Again, sometimes I do it, sometimes I don't. Can you drop the chart link in the, I could, but it's a personalized chart, Michael, for everybody. So I want to send everybody a personalized chart. And by the way, when you send me on Workplace Chat, Eric Golden, tell me who your upline founder from EXP and our Freedom Team is, because I include them to be able to view your chart. Here's why. If you're in Jeff Morell's group, you want to tell Jeff, I'm going to complete this Freedom chart. I need your help. And he's going to say, yes. Tim, if you're in Tim's group, you're going to say, hey, I've got a Freedom chart. I'm going to start working down that path. I understand Lisa, list, invite, show, answer, but I'm going to need your help. And Tim's going to say, yes, I want you to understand you're going to get all the help you need once you make the right decision. So let me know who your upline leader is, and I'll make sure they're included in the Freedom chart so they can look at it too.
You.
Well, yes, me. I know who we are, Eugenia. With this said, 2 last plugs. They're not shameless because they're not for me. You are getting tips of the day every day. They're no longer than 3.5 minutes, and they're normally 1 minute to 2. They are unbelievably valuable. And here's why they're valuable. Not for the content, but you're training yourself to do the right thing. This is the problem we all have. We're all capable of doing the right thing. We're just not doing it enough. Fair or not fair? The first thing you should do when you grab your phone in the morning, look at your sports if that's what you do, look at the weather if that's what you do, but the first business thing you should do is click on the tip of the day and let that be the first piece of business you hear. In most cases, you will say these words, or you'll think it. This is really good. I should do this. In some cases, you'll say, you know, it's interesting, but it doesn't apply to me. In either case, you've done something that is absolutely required for agent attraction. You've learned to commit to doing something that's only 1 minute long, and you've succeeded. Because I'm going to get you, if you follow this method, I like the number 5. So I'm going to learn you, I'm going to train you, I'm going to inspire you, I'm going to motivate you, I'm going to educate you to make a minimum of just 5 calls a day. And if you can make 5 outbound calls a day to try to attract an agent by just asking them if they'd be open-minded to take a look at why 80,000 agents have moved to just one company and what could be in it with them, as long as they know that you don't need them to join you, you're not expecting them to change brokerages, you're just trying to find out if there's something in it for them. If you make 5 calls a day and you did it 5 days a week and you did it for a month, and you then did it for 12 of them, you'd make 1,300 calls. Now, Mike, do you think you need to make 1,300 calls to find 5 agents? No. But it's training you to make 5 calls a day. Now you're supposed to say, can I do it in the transaction side? You can. Call 5 expireds. Tim is one of the best trainers I know for real estate transactions. And the first thing he told my wife is you need to be consistent on a daily basis, putting out your feelers. You got to do it daily. And the reason is you can't pick it up and let it go and pick it up and let it go, because eventually you won't pick it up. Does that make sense? So
Yes.
Bake it into your daily ritual. Listen to the tip of the day. Make 5 outbound calls a day to new agents that you haven't talked with. If you need help with a list, you're going to ask me, how do you build one? This is the Q&A part. If you don't know what to say, you're going to ask me, what do I say? If you don't know what to show, you're going to ask me, what do I show? And if you don't know how to answer their questions, you're going to say, what do I do if I can answer their questions? You're also going to say, I don't have any credibility. I don't know this. I don't know that. You can ask me anything. But what you shouldn't ask me is the work involved. The work is listen to the tip of the day, make 5 outbound calls, and if you need transactions, make sure you plug in on Tuesday. And if you need help with agent attraction, more of this, then make sure you plug in Monday and Thursday at the exact same time you're in right now. That is it, ladies and gentlemen. If you'll do what I just told you, this will be the career you dreamed about. The one that says unlimited income, flexible schedule. Oh, what happened to that? The reason you don't have unlimited income is you can't control your schedule. And the reason you don't have a flexible schedule is you're spending all your time trying to figure out what you should be doing. I just spent 31 minutes on the clock telling you exactly what to do on transactions and attraction. And if you did just that, it is as good as any Ferry, Caruth, Kakowski. It is as good as any of their trainings, because if you won't do what I just said, you're not going to do what they told you. Fred, are you enjoying this? It looks like you're enjoying this.
Yes, sir, I am enjoying it. You know, we're still pretty new in the whole EXP thing. We got in literally 2 days before EXPCon, and we got to go. And just overwhelmed, literally overwhelmed, not just by how nice everyone was and how giving, and you know, you're an example of that, but just how vast the organization is. And so right now I'm soaking up everything.
Okay.
And
so let me first of all praise you for your decision, your boldness, but now let me handle what you're going through. You're going to remember this. There's some people here that won't, but your danger, Will Robinson, you are right now what's called lost in space. My goal and role every time I jump on a training is to bring you back to a single step. In agent attraction, you're either making your list or inviting. You're doing those two things every day. You may not be showing every day, and you may not be answering or following up every day, but you are going to be adding to your list daily and inviting people daily. And if you don't start doing that tomorrow, you won't do it for a week. Okay? So let me go to the Q&A part. I want everybody to know you're lost in space, but everybody else has been here longer than a month and a half, and they're feeling the same thing you're feeling. Taurus is not going to do 100 transactions if he's not focused. But he's not going to do 100 transactions if he's not utilizing his time well. He knows that. You don't get to that number. You don't get to 30 million. You don't get to 20 million. You have a hard time getting to 10 million if you don't utilize your time well. So you have lofty numbers, Taurus. Make sure you have a strategy to match it. And then don't question what to do. Just do the strategy. If you're questioning what to do, you need a strategy in anything, agent attraction included. Today, you might have come thinking, what am I going to get from this class? Here's what you've got. There's only 4 things we do. It's called Lisa, and I better be doing it every day or it's not going to work. But I'm only looking for 5. I'm only looking for 5. And those 5 that bring 5, all of a sudden they're making 100 grand a year, passive income. Gosh, EXP was a great decision. And by the way, now that you've done that, you're going to help those 25 each do the same thing you did. Now you're literally making $344,000 a year. Super cool. And then you can decide what you really want to do with your life.
And that's 5 times 5, right? 5 times 5 times 5.
5 who get 5. I'll put it up again. I'm going to show it to you again. 5 who get 5 is going to be 94,000. See the box right here?
Gotcha.
5 gives you 16. 5 who bring their best friend is 30,000 a year, assuming everybody's capping agent or higher. 5 who get 5 is 94,000 a year. And if you help 5 people complete a freedom chart, like for instance, if I help Tim, Fred, Taurus, Eugenia, and Melvin each complete this chart, you'd all be making 94 grand a year, Taurus, and I'd be making 344 grand. Got it?
Yeah.
Tim, you've been around real estate how long?
21 years.
Okay. In 21 years, have you ever seen a less expensive program to make 344,000 than what I just showed you?
Never in my life, not just the 21 years.
Have you ever seen something that takes less time if done right, meaning talking to the prospects that should be talking to? Have you ever, is there a way to make this 344 legally Any other way to do it easier than this that you know of?
Nope.
And what's the risk in doing this? If you fail halfway through, you're at 175 grand, right? What about if you're investing time and money in a rental or a group of rentals or commercial, and all of a sudden something goes sideways? You're not, you don't make half the money in that deal, do you, Tim?
No.
So I want everybody to understand that what I'm showing you is the holy grail of EXP, and there's only 12 of us that are looking at it. If you have people on your team that you're bringing in your group, bring them here. Let me do for them what I'm doing for you. Get them to listen to the tip of the day. Get them to plug in our Tuesday transactions. Get them to plug in Monday and Thursday for agent attraction, and get them to do Lisa. If you do just that, Fred, you're no longer lost in space. Forget about all the other things. Do the things we talked about today and get them done. So with that said, Fred, how long have you been a realtor?
Well, I got my license 4 years ago. So my wife and I work as a team. And in fact, I got to say briefly that we went to EXPCon. We got a chance to meet Tim. He was so gracious. But one of the reasons we came in is that Mike and his group, Mike, who's on the call, we were doing our due diligence. They did a presentation in Colorado Springs, and I went, these are the kind of people we want to work with. So, I recently retired from a full-time job, and this is our life. And so, I'm doing exactly what you're doing. I just wasn't quite doing 5. So Eric, two calls. For me, it was 2 and 2 and 2. However, you inspired me. I'm going to do what I can to get to 5.
Well, I would do 5 because it keeps the 5 theme around, right? And there's no reason not to. If the calls are quick, and they shouldn't be long, calls are quick. The goal, why do you make a call? To set an appointment. The only other reason you're on that call is to soften the blow when you get on the appointment where there's some familiarity. So it's often nice to figure out, what kind of things might you be looking for? What are you missing where you are? Find a pain point, but you know all that. Here's what I will tell you. You'll have one opportunity after listening to me today. One, to make a list. I'm going to ask you to go back to the first of the 4 steps, because there's only 4. And make a list bigger than you ever thought possible of every agent you've ever connected with in any way at all. And I would spend the next 24, 48, 72 hours doing that. Because here's why. You'll never go back and do it again as well as you'll do it at the beginning. So listen to me. If you said I inspired you, inspire you to get the first piece done. Here's why. Because then you're 25% of the way to 344 grand a year. The invite I mentioned, you've heard the recording. We will post this recording. We generally don't post Thursdays, but since Tim said so many nice things about it, we'll post it, and we'll put it in Workplace, the Freedom Team Workplace. We'll put it online where we normally do in YouTube, and it'll be on freedomteamsupport.com as well. So if you've not been at freedomteamsupport.com, go there, look at all the things you're missing, and decide what is lost in space and what is vital. Okay? But I'm going to recommend you invite using the simple invite I just said 5 times. Hey, you probably know 80,000, you may not know 80,000 agents have come to just one company in the last 5 years. And guess what? They've all come for something, right? I want to show you what could be in it for you. As long as you know there's no pressure, don't care if you change brokerages. It's just for information purposes only. Would you jump on a quick Zoom? Let me show you why these agents are coming. And they're going to say things like, oh, but I know this, but you didn't tell me why agents are coming. Oh, I love my broker. Great, but you still don't know why agents would come here. Some of the agents that have come here love their broker. They still came here. Let me show you why. You see the conversation? So if you can learn how to make 5 calls a day and not run out of names, and if you can learn how to invite people using the script I just said you're halfway home to $344,000. So Fred, is there anything stopping you now besides being lost in space? And did I funnel your space a little bit better?
There's nothing stopping me.
Okay.
No obstacles ahead.
Well, you're going to run into them. If you put your focus back on what I talked about today, you'll go right around them.
Absolutely.
Good deal. Because the reason you'll run into obstacles is you're dealing with someone that at some point just doesn't want to talk to you. So let them do what Eugenia does. Let them go. And then just periodically pop in, but they'll pop back if they're interested. Okay? Taurus, is there anything stopping you?
Nothing.
You have a list of agents?
Yes, I have a list of agents.
Okay. When I say a list, it looks like this. So you know I have a list. You can do it handwritten. I think handwritten lists are great lists. I also think if you want to come up with some sort of something, here we go. I'll share screen. So boom. So here's a list of agents that I've been talking to over the last 5.5 years. And there is 468 that are still in my database that I am still communicating with. Here's what's crazy. Over the next year, I will sponsor more agents that I pick up the phone and call between now and the end of the year than out of the group of 468 that I've been talking to. They don't come back often. So don't wait for them to come back. Go out and go hunt again to eat. Go hunt again to eat. So get a big list, Taurus. Start making 5 calls a day and move ahead. Mike, any questions? What's stopping you?
Nothing. No, I'm actually working on getting my agent's license now. That's get those formalities out of the way, but could start on a list before that and keep moving forward.
Okay, so here's how you start on a list. You text everybody in your phone. By the way, this is not a suggestion. This is an order. I'm kidding. I can't order you to do it, but it would be an order if I could give you one. Starting today, you text everyone that's an A. Hey, Alex. Then you copy and paste the rest of it. I am looking for a good real estate agent in your area of Albuquerque. If you know one, could you shoot their name and number to me? I would really appreciate it. That's it. You do all the A's today. You do all the B's tomorrow. You do all the C's on Saturday. Skip Sunday. It's football and church day. Go to Monday and do your E's. Next week, get F, G, H, and I. Following week. So by the next 30 days, you'll have texted out 26 times. And you will have agents coming into your phone that you don't know. It's a way for a new agent to build a list without having credibility in the market. Now, you're going to say to me in a month, what do I say to these people I don't know? And I'm going to answer it in a month.
Got it.
So is that good enough for you to move ahead today?
Yes, absolutely.
Perfect.
Yep.
Higdon, what do you need?
Sorry about that. I have not been using my CRM Grow as well as I have. On the 9-minute video, that's still built into that if we wanted to send that out.
Well, it's not built in. You have access to the 9-minute, but you also have access. I'm going to show everybody real quick. Share screen because there's a number of new people here. I'm going to show you. This is freedomteamsupport.com. See how it shows up right away? And if you go here to freedomteamsupport.com and you go to the upper right-hand corner where it says presentations, there's my presentation, 17 minutes. Tim's is 26. Jeff's got one at 35. Brent's got one at 35. Here's a commercial one at 27. All of these presentations can be available to you, Mike, in CRM Grow.
Just import them in there.
Just import them in there. Again, reach out to one of us. We'll make sure you have access to do that. But yeah, so the answer to your question is you have a presentation available in CRM Grow.
I just remember that one that was well done. I just didn't know if it was still in there.
It's still there. The 9 minutes still there.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
And my guess is they'll come out with a new one in a month or two. I'm going to come up with a new one in the next month or two, which will be because mine starts. This is the 2023, Bob. I'm going to start with this is the 2024. By the way, it's a great way for you all to be able to say, if you haven't seen the 2024 presentation, oh my God, boom. People look because of one word, not need, but curiosity.
Curiosity.
Curiosity is what makes everybody do everything. Transactions or not. Hey, do you want to see how I would list your home? I get all rave reviews on the way I list. I'd love to show you what I do. See, that makes people go, "Oh, what do you do?" Hey, there's 80,000 agents have come to EXP for a reason. There's a reason why they came, and there's probably something here for you. Would you be curious to know what could be in it for you? Yeah. See, I even use the words in contacting. Okay. I make it really basic. Yes, I've got all this going on, but it's really right here. Okay. Eugenia, what do you need?
So if I am making my list and I invite somebody, do I send that presentation to them?
Well, there's a whole bunch. Now we're good. So you have a list. You're now inviting them. They say they're open to look. There's 3 ways they can look. Number 1 is a live presentation.
Okay.
You have the benefit of doing a live presentation with either, although anyone can use anybody, but your upline, if you will, is me and Sean, right? So you can use either one of us. Sean generally does yours, but I can do it. Okay. We all have our own flavor, but we all have enough. We're all making money with commas in it. Some of us multiple commas. So I want you to know that we know what we're doing. So Eugenia, you could say, love to get you on a live Zoom with one of the people that actually I talk to. They're awesome.
Right.
There will be no pressure, just an opportunity for you to see why agents are coming. That's what you say. And they'll say, well, and then you go, by the way, this is where your technique is. If you can go for an appointment, you get one. We jump on, we generally either show the 9-minute or the 15-minute, and then we go right into Q&A.
Okay.
Sometimes we show it live. Normally we don't. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Now, with that said, the second way is to say, hey, look, I'd love to send you, in our case, a 15-minute video that explains EXP. At least it's the 2023 version. Would love you to look at it. Here's the problem. If I send it to you, most people don't look.
Okay.
I say that right up front because you know what happens, Mike? If you send it to them, you know what? They don't look. So I tell them. And then, by the way, they'll say, no, I absolutely will work. And Tim, what happens then? They still don't look. But I want you to know
chase mode.
You're in chase mode, which is not agent attraction. That's not the way I look at agent attraction. But it's worth a phone call or a text, or in the automation in CRM Grow. If you have CRM Grow, you can create an automation. So every couple of days, they get the video until they bounce it or watch it. Okay.
And let
me do one. So the second way is to do it that way. The third way, and the best, is to meet them face to face for coffee. Show them one of our presentations, bring a microphone so they can listen to it on a laptop, and then have one of us ready to jump in with a Q&A as soon as it's over. That is by far the best way. A variation of that is doing a lunch and learn or some sort of meeting where you bring a whole bunch of people to it.
Okay.
Those are the 3 ways. Tim, go ahead.
I was just going to say, my style, I would never, ever, 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 ever send a video to anyone unless they were the ones that said, no, I'm not really interested. Me sending a 9-minute video to that person is a default. I get it. You're not interested. Totally fine. Let me send you a video. Please watch it. And then at least you'll know what one of your great options are should your situation ever change. I would never send a video outside of that scenario. I would always get them on a Zoom, and even the brand new ones that are scared to death to think about doing this right now, you brand new people to the attraction, you can get them on a Zoom and push play on the 4 videos that Eric showed you, on the 9-minute video that Michael referenced. It's easy because what you really want to do in that video, and now we're talking about what to do when you're in front of them, but you want to build rapport. There's nothing more important than you showing them you care about them. You listen to them. You understand their goals, their ambitions, their desires. You understand their volume, what they want their volume to be in 5 years and 10 years. You want to know what their exit strategy is if they have one. And you become their best friend during that video. And I wouldn't even go to the presentation until you do that. and then push play on a video, whichever one, doesn't matter. I used to give a 45-minute PowerPoint presentation to every single person I brought to EXP, and I brought a lot of people to EXP. I haven't done it in over a year. I'm getting to know them in about 20 to 40 minutes, whatever it takes. I'm pushing play on the 9-minute video. And then I'm bringing up 3 slides that reviews the compensatory ways that we have at EXP. And then I do Q&A. And the thing I was going to say earlier was 5 a day is great. But if you really want to put it on steroids, instead of having 5 calls a day, have 5 conversations a day. I did that in 2020 from my lake house. And I brought 19 people on that year, not 5. That takes a little longer than 10, 15 minutes because you can have 5 2-minute conversations in 10 minutes a day. But if you have 5 conversations a day, you will crush it way faster than what we're even talking about. And I'm not trying to get you off track, because 5 who get 5 is where it's at. But if you want to do it faster and you can afford an hour to an hour and a half a day instead of 10 minutes to 15 minutes a day, that is your mission.
I'll echo what Tim said. I wrote a note. I do this constantly. What's in it for them?
Yep.
If you don't know what's in it for them, they don't know what's in it for them.
And you don't know what's in it for them until you know what they need. Anything you do beyond that, before you know what they need, you're just EXPing all over them.
And it's messy. Cool. So I've got some people who are not on screen, but have joined us. Samantha, Patricia, iPhone 3, Tony, and Melvin, any specific question about something you need right now?
For me, no. I'm just here to continue on the path. I've been working what you have been sharing, and just come in to keep motivated, keep focused.
I love what you said, motivated and focused. I want you to understand the motivation comes from the focus. Clarity creates focus. Focus doesn't create clarity. You understanding strategy, what you want, how simple it is. It's only as simple as it is. Recruiting agents is the easiest thing you'll ever do at EXP. Easiest thing you'll ever do if you're talking to an agent that wants to be recruited. So go find them and quit arguing with the rest. You'll learn how to get around the rest of them by not arguing with them. Just let them pass you by and go, next time I'm going to say this. Or you'll bring it to us and say, what do I say if they do this? Okay, that's a great thing. I love when this turns into, when Tara says, hey, I made a call and this guy said this, what should I have said? Or Fred said, hey, what can I do there? I love those. But we got to get you started so you get those. Okay. I'm always going to say that's not the person you're looking for, but I'm always going to answer. Okay? Patricia, iPhone 3, Tony, and Samantha, anything from you?
Good morning. Good morning. I want to say that Rob was very inspiring yesterday about starting over.
Yep.
I thought that was absolutely amazing, which lets me know I'm not too old. So working on my wealth chart and listening to his video.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, yesterday, Rob Flick,
Awesome.
who arguably has the second or third most people in all of EXP, but we're all in his group. Got over 20,000 people in his group. He's making good money. He's got more than 150. And so he did a training yesterday. It was a special training. We did send messages out. We are having issues with our texting platform. We may be going to a new one. We may be asking you to opt in. You are getting an email every morning with tip of the day. You're also getting one a week on Sundays with what's going on for the week. when it comes from us, admin@freedomteam.com, you should be making sure you read those. I know there's a lot of stuff EXP sends you that some you need, some you don't. We don't send you much. What we send you is critical. I'll go back to what I said before. Clarity before focus, focus before execution. Some of us are executing without full clarity, and you're not executing optimally. And you know it. If you don't feel comfortable with the script, because it just doesn't feel right, you're not going to test it. Get it to feel right. So test it with your family members. Test it with the people you sponsored. Test it with the person that sponsored you. Test it with your spouse. Fred, you said you were a husband-wife team. I don't care if your wife recruits the soul. She needs to hear every time you want to practice, you need to tie her down and make her respond. Okay? There's only 4 things we do. Let's get really good at them and run to the money. They're not hard. Making a list is not hard. Learning what to say is not hard. Learning how to show a presentation is not hard. Sending out presentations by video sounds easy. Meeting them for coffee sounds harder, but you'll sponsor more people meeting for coffee. And you only need how many? Well, I'm not asking you to call 1,320 people. I'm asking you to call enough till you get 5 capping agents who say these words. I would love to offset my cap. I'll bring 5 agents over the next handful of months or a year. What do I do? And you'll show them this recorded video, get their head right, and you'll work with them because you will know it's not only good for them, but it's also, of course, good for you. Agents that are making 5, 10, 15,000 a month don't leave you. Transactions will go up and down. Rev share doesn't vacillate as much. So let's build a little team, and that way we can sit the next recession out. Make sense? Tim, anything to close with?
I just want to touch quickly on you gave a suggestion on making a list to the agents that are newer and don't know a lot of agents. Those of you that have been in the business for decades like me, or years, if it's shorter than decades, invite the agent that you are having a closing with next Tuesday at 4 o'clock to grab a drink at 5 o'clock and say, I just want to get to know you better and celebrate getting this deal done. You've been great to work with. If they were great to work with. If they weren't, then don't say that. And don't invite them because you probably don't want to partner with them. That's your first list. The people you have ongoing closings with. The second list is everybody you've ever closed a deal with. Hey, Michael, it's Tim Holland, and you and I had that closing. Gosh, it's probably been a year ago. I can't believe we haven't had a cross sale since then. How you been, man? Listen, I'm curious. And then go into Eric's spiel. And then the third list, and I'm going to stop there, is every agent in your MLS. You can go see the roster more than likely online that you've not had to deal with. And I would focus on those above 3 million in annual sales first. As you get comfortable, you're going to talk to the 10 million, the 20 million, the $50 million producers, but start with 3 million and above. They're going to be cappers. You're not going to waste time with the people that aren't selling a whole lot. That's going to be a slot you can fill in on your freedom chart because they are a capper. If they're not a capper, you can't put them in there because they're not doing what's going to generate for you the $2,800 a month. I mean, a year, excuse me. So I just wanted to add that the agents that you know versus the A's and B's and C's every day for those of you that don't know agent. That works. That's what Sean Sturrock did. And he found Jay Nelson, a realtor friend in another state that he happened to know, but Sean wasn't selling real estate, wasn't closing deals. So that absolutely works.
And when you find someone like Jay Nelson, you end up a few years later having a couple thousand people in your rev share group because of Jay Nelson's history having nothing to do with Sean Sturrock. So you'll get those blessings as well if you're doing the work. Hey, this is our Thursday. We come with fire every Thursday. excited to do this again next week. My goal will be for you to have progressed over the next week. Only one of us will really know whether that's the case, and that means you. But I'll know by the questions you ask. Please don't run away because you haven't done the work and you think I'm going to think differently of you. Nope. I think you want the same thing we want. I'm just waiting for you to prove it. And that'll stay that way until you begin to prove it. So plug into your tips of the day, plug into our trainings Monday, Tuesdays, Thursdays. Make sure that you are clear on the things that you're doing, because it'll impact how you do them. Sharpen the axe 3 times before swinging it once. In construction, I say measure twice before cutting, right? So with that said, thank you for joining us. Bring more next week. We look forward to Monday with the training that'll be on Monday, which will be a different way to attract agents. Could be social media, could be LinkedIn, it could be different techniques of things to say. They all work, but what you've heard today is the building block to get it to hold together. We will see you next week. Don't forget, if you want a freedom chart, please get a hold of me on Workplace Chat and let me know who your common upline person is that's a founder, meaning Morel, Hollenden, Sean Sturrock, myself, or Kathy Carter. Okay? And if you don't know, just let me know and we'll find out together. Have a great week, everybody. It's going to be a great month. This is the the second best month to recruit agents in the year is November. So let's get started, because this is when it really begins. Have a great week.
Thanks, buddy.
And come back Monday, same time. Don't miss
Same
Eric
time.
Orland. 2,300 in
Thank
his
you.
organization.
Oh my gosh, he's got
No,
2,300 in his group on Monday?
Yep.
Yep. Come here, Eric, on Monday.